Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Breakfast with Blaha, and today I'm having fat-free Greek yogurt, frozen strawberries, and oats, along with my Diet Dr. Pepper. Although, we have an update on the Diet Dr. Pepper situation. It turns out I was wrong. I can get Coke Zero, but I have a few cases of this I've got to get through. I can get Coke Zero at Costco, I just didn't realize it. So I can actually get my favorite diet soda coming up. And I'm sure this is one I'll have to explain too, but people are always going to be like, you were so into Whole Foods, how dare you eat aspartame? It seems like a bad idea. It's like, go do your own research, guys. And I know people hate that line, do your research, but I'm sorry. Anyone who's looked at the research doesn't think aspartame is a problem. All right. Let's talk a little bit about prioritizing your upper back and what we mean by that. And the funny thing is that this should almost be a priority no matter what your goals are. I guess up to a point, because certain guys with a certain look, I guess they don't want their traps too big. But realistically speaking, hell, even the guys who are chasing a look, they still want big delts, right? They want big delts. Well, big delts are part of the upper back. In other words, when we talk about the whole yoke, the upper back, we're generally talking about traps, and that means the entire trap, upper, middle, lower, things like the rhomboids, posterior deltoids. You see where I'm going with that? Anything that works the rear delts builds the side delts. That is not a point of real debate either. In other words, and I'm not saying AMG is the be-all, end-all, because it's not, and we always got to point that out. Certainly better than not having any data at all. Every exercise that hits the rear delts hits the side delts as a primary mover when you look at it every single time. So if you're prioritizing your upper back, that means you're also prioritizing the rear delts. That means your side delts are going to get a lot of work. Well, the guys who chase the quote-unquote aesthetic look, what does that mean? Big delts, low body fat. That is actually what that means for the non-genetic component, right? For the non-genetic component. That's largely genetics, by the way. So, what benefits are we getting from upper back? All right. First of all, before we get into the performance or strength, how about the fact that it builds your neck? Now, point of contention, I made that video a while back on the neck training. I had someone bring up a study to me, and I went and looked it up. I'm like, oh my God. The first time it's been looked at, it turned out when neck extensions were compared to other exercises, you know what they found? That the extensors of the neck were worked just as hard by, guess what? By shrugs and by reverse flies, which are some of the best upper trap exercises, which kind of shows that neck extension, again, we need this for fighting and contact sports, that neck extension is fundamentally tied to your upper traps in terms of the muscles themselves, right? They're so intrinsically connected you can't contract one under load without the other. Just like when you do neck extension, you feel upper traps. So if we're just focusing on this area in general, you're going to have a thicker, stronger neck, right? Bigger, stronger neck. It goes hand in hand with it. They cannot be separated. What else? All right, building this whole area up builds bench stability. And you know, people use this line, oh, we should do twice as much pulling as pushing. Not rowing. That doesn't mean you need to be rowing twice as much as you push. Okay, because lats are not the big deal. You certainly don't need pull-ups to be there. I'm not saying pull-ups aren't a good exercise, but you guys get the idea. You get the idea. Upper back is really what helps build your stability on the bench. It helps create more stable shoulders to bench safer, have less shoulder issues from benching, assuming you're technically proficient. It's a big deal. Number two, it helps you stay tight on the bench and get an ideal bar path. In other words, you'll see this said all the time, coach after coach after coach. Big upper back helps build a big bench. All right. How about deadlifting? Squatting, big upper back gives you a more favorable bar position. In other words, it helps with your center of gravity on a back squat. Gives you a more stable shelf to put the bar on a back squat. More minor of a point than the others. Deadlift gives you a more stable deadlift. That whole upper back, one of the most important stabilizers for staying tight on the deadlift. What do we mean tight? Your ability to pull down and back with the scapula, the ability to keep the chest up a bit, the ability to pull back. In other words, it helps keep you from fishing pulling the weight over. So you can really use the hamstrings and things effectively. Right? It helps all of that. But what else do we get? Well, when we focus on the upper back, what gets built? Our grip. And I saw many years ago Steve Shaw say that there was some data showing that grip strength was heavily tied to upper back. That actually just training your upper back seems to increase grip strength even if you use straps. I don't know that I believe that. But we do know all the exercises that build upper back build grip in forearms. Well, that's going to help build your deadlift. That's going to help build your bench. Well, what all are we talking about? Rowing in general, right? All of that. How about upright rows? Yeah, it's all gripping. What about face pulls? Yeah, you're having to grip with that too. How about shrugs? Oh, there's a big grip component to shrugs, right? They're a great grip training tool in and of themselves, done correctly. Unless you're trying to do crazy power shrugs with straps. All right. How about cleans? Any sort of clean, snatch grip, high pull, those things all train the hell out of your grip in forearms. By prioritizing the upper back, we get enormous amounts of grip and forearm training. Right? So it does a lot for us. There's really good reasons for you to make this area a high priority. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.